got this old Dodge Ramcharger here, and hasn't been ran for about 10, maybe 15 years, and we're gonna see what it takes to get her going. So, looking at this here, it looks not too bad. I mean, it's got a little bit of rust, and it's got a little bit of moss growing in it, like kind of like a old growth log, but other than that, this thing will clean up pretty nicely. These are nice old trucks. It's got the little bubble windows at the back and a 360 under the hood, so better than 318. It's got an automatic transmission and four-wheel drive, 4 leafs, and I believe it's got a Dana 44 front and back. It'll be a good 4x4. I bought this thing about 12 years ago, and the guy that I bought it off of said it sat there for about 6 years. So it sat around for about 18 years, but when I bought it from about 3 hours out of town and drove it home. By the time I got it home, the exhaust was red hot. It kept stalling and overheating, and I couldn't figure out why. I replaced the thermostat and the coolant and replaced the spark plug wires, air filter. I even brought it to a local shop that was supposed to be good with this old crap, and they couldn't tell me what was wrong with it either. So I ended up parking it for the last 12 years. The fuel lines have been bypassed a few times over this thing's life, so there's the suspicion of bad fuel and junk in the bottom of the fuel tank. So instead of running off the fuel tank, I'm going to plumb in this remote fuel tank I made out of this jerry can. Isn't it neat? I bought a cheap fuel pump for old Mazda, and it was 20 bucks on Amazon, and now I'm gonna plumb that into the supply line and put the return line back into the jerry can, and I got a little fuel tank to run the car off of, and I know that's clean gas, so I don't have to worry about anything in the fuel tank for right now while I'm just getting it going. And I'll show you how that works in a bit, but gonna plumb it right in there, right where there's all these like retarded graveyard of extra fuel lines. We're just gonna put a couple more in there, but straight to this fuel tank up here instead. And then once it gets going, the gravity feed will take care of the rest, but I'll just turn the pump on for a quick minute just to prime the system, and well, I'll show you how that works a little bit later. But first, because this thing hasn't been ran for like 12 years, we're going to pull the plugs and spray a little bit of lubrication down the cylinders. So because this thing has sat for so long, you never know how seized the rings could be to the cylinder. Everything could be seized up, so just going to pull the plugs one by one, spray a little bit of lube in each cylinder, and let it seep in for the day, and start it up later on, and it should be a little nicer on the little girl. But the trick to doing this is just pull the plugs one by one, so then you don't mess up any spark plug wires, because then it's going to sound like crap when you start it up anyway. I don't think there's a problem that there isn't, but just switched around some wires, so pull them one by one and connect them one by one, and then you never have an issue. All these spark plugs look fine because they were pretty much brand new and I barely ran, so I'm not going to check the gaps on them because I know that they're good. I checked the oil level and it looks good. It looks clean because it was replaced 12 years ago as well. I'll replace it after I get it going before I drive it though. I want to get this thing running at some point today, so I don't want to waste too much time. First step will be getting the truck running. Second step will be figuring out why it's overheating and why it was stalling. And then third will be take the old girl out and beat the hell out of her. The third step will definitely be the best step. Well, the most fun step, that's for sure. It should at least make a good video or two, because once I get this old girl going, I'm going to go and beat the hell out of her in the bush until she breaks, and then fix it and probably do it again once or twice. Should make probably a couple good videos, and also some burnouts. Planning on doing some good smoke shows with the old girl, see what I can break. Should be a tough old truck. It's got leaf springs front and back, and should be able to take a good shit kicking, but I guess we're gonna find out. So subscribe for this Ramcharger series if you want to check that out. But I guess we should get back to getting her going. I'll just try to speed things up here so we can try to get this thing started today. 4 times speed, here we go. Alright, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's see if this thing's seized or if it'll turn over. I'm gonna try to turn it over by using the fan belt bolt here. Let's see what we got here. Oh God. With an engine like this one that hasn't been ran for a considerable amount of time, it's a good idea to turn the engine over by hand a couple times just to make sure that it's not seized up. And if it turns over by hand, it's a lot nicer on it than forcing everything with the starter. It did move a bit. If it doesn't want to move at all, then you know you got a problem because your engine's seized. Completely seized. It moved a little bit. Alright, so that's working. It's turning. Oh yeah. Okay, she's turning over easier. Alright. Okay. Alright. Let's start. It was a little tight at first, but then it started to turn over pretty good, so that's a good start. Gotta get the remote fuel tank on it and see if it will start. Get this gas tank plumbed in. Ooh, good save. Almost lost that. Have to get down. As long as you hear it hit the ground, it's a good thing. Okay, we're gonna pull this return line off here. Pull this the supply line. Reconnect our own new supply line. Alright, now we got supply and return plumbed in from this remote tank. I got the return line with this clear line, so I'll be able to see, make sure it's pumping through and see what it looks like, how much is going through. If there's air entering the fuel, there'll be a remote fuel tank and an air and fuel tester. First, look at some fuel in this jerry can here. Unfortunately, I had to retire this good jerry can with the vent in the actual jerry can and get this retarded jerry can with the vent in the pouring spout. The first design was way better than this. Now it's going to take me 10 minutes to fill up this damn jerry can. They had it right the first time. I don't see why they had to change it. I guess I'll just go 10 times speed to speed this up. Why the hell they couldn't have just left the jerry can alone? They had it right the first time. It's beyond me, but here we are in this mess now. Gotta deal with it. Well, that's probably enough. That's probably more than enough after all my complaining, ranting, and raving. I'm gonna set the jerry can up here, and then I'll only have to run the little pump for a minute, and then it'll prime the system, and then it'll just gravity feed it from there. So just pop the pump right in there, and don't forget to put the return line back in there, otherwise you'll make a mess real quick. You'll regret not putting it in there if you don't, that's for damn sure. And yeah, that's all ready to go. We got her in there. Probably just keep the lines away from the exhaust, but that's for you to decide if you decide to do this at your own risk. Let's see what this air filter looks like. got some water in there, a little bit of condensation. Doesn't look too bad. We'll take that off for testing purposes. Oh. Hey, made in Canada. Nice. All right, I'm gonna clean up around that carburetor. Now that we got this fuel tank hooked up, and I need a new battery. I got this old battery. Get in there. I cleaned the terminals last night because we had one less thing to do today. There's a lot of corrosion on the old bastards. Things way better when you got the top to it so it doesn't poke your hand. I kind of wonder what this mysterious blue wire's for. Whatever, it was on there before, I'll just put it back the way it was, but I kind of wonder what it's for. When connecting batteries, you always want to do the positive first and the negative last, so that way if you touch the wrench to a ground point while you're connecting the power, you don't ground it out. Yeah, that's nice, fine, nice and secure. On this blue wire here, it goes down straight from the battery and tucks in this hole in the frame, right through this hole in the frame. And there's no grommet, it's just ready to rub through and short out straight to the battery and burn this little fucker down. Well, I'll probably have to do something about that later, but I'm not worried about that right now. Just check the coolant and maybe fill her with some water here, and I want to get this thing started. Some water.
Yeah, it's full of crystals.
Yeah, look, it wasn't that empty. All right, we got this fuel tank set up. Now let's give it a test. Just hook the positive and negative up right here. So I get it started here. It doesn't even need to be on for long. So you know it'll go through, get some fuel going. I'll just let it pump for a few seconds, let it get the air out and prime the system, and then that'll be plenty. Then with the fuel tank sitting up here above the engine and carburetor, it'll just gravity feed in for the rest. Let's see if it'll start like that. Just dump fuel down there. All right, let's see what it does. Let's see what it'll do. This thing hasn't moved in so long that a tree grew in front of the driver's side door, so the only way to get in is to crawl through from the passenger side door. Look, yeah. We are gonna fucking try to start this thing. Roll down the windows. All right, let's see if we have any luck here. Oh shit, it just tried to start. Oh, geez. Woo! Ha 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 ha. Woo! Ha 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 ha. Yeah, it's idling. I want to leave it idle for a second. No, not right now. Let the oil circulate for a minute. Do I have oil pressure? I have a bit of oil pressure. Yeah. We got oil pressure. We got oil pressure. Oh, yeah. Woo.
Some smoke coming up in the back of your engine.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's probably exhaust too. Oh yeah, it's on. This shit's burning off. Keep that away from them. I keep this one away from the exhaust pipe. Oh, probably. It's what I'm thinking. Woo! It's running. Look at that. Got a bunch of shit that's burning off. Actually, looks like it's missing an exhaust bolt right there. This thing hasn't been ran forever. All right, we got bit of oil pressure. We look all right here. It's been idling for like 5 minutes now, and still looks good. We got oil pressure. I don't know if the coolant gauge is working, but she's running. Seems like it has a little bit of a high idle. Maybe a choking issue, so gonna have to figure that out. All right, we got the Ramcharger going right on. That's good. That's step one. Now step two is figure out why the hell the exhaust was glowing red hot and why it was overheating and stalling. And then after that, take it up to the bush and beat the hell out of it. Subscribe for more truck stuff.